So hello everybody and welcome to today's TST. This is actually not the right TST agenda. This is 2021, so I might be off on that. Let me just get the 2022 one in a second. Okay, welcome to the TST call and thanks for joining. As usual, the call is public and recorded and will be shared live on YouTube. So please be mindful of the comments you make and the information you share. Let me just give an update on the Tst Lead. So this is the, I started asking around what figure could hold this role, and there is a possibility that we are gonna split the technical and project management figure, because there are people that I would feel very comfortable leaving the technical side too, but they're not nor I wouldn't say capable, but they're not into the project management side of the project, and that they are not willing to spend the time to get into this project management, which is not their main task, their main goal. And so we are looking, and I'm discussing with ONF at the possibility of having somebody that would take up that role in terms of just pure project management, such as Jiras and holding the TST call and getting everybody together for the release process, such as doing the Jiras and all of that, while the technical lead would hold the technical lead position, being responsible for technical decisions, technical guidance, and design discussions of the project. And also the technical person would have the vote on the TST list, but both of them would be on the TST. So it would effectively be taking my role and splitting it into two. I have not received any nomination for the role. So if you guys are interested in nominating somebody, both from a technical perspective or on a project management perspective, please do send me these nominations. I would love to get them. If you want to nominate somebody for the same figure at the same time, both project management and the technical lead, please do send me that in the same email. Okay, I will update this. I will, let me just postpone this. I said it would be today, but it's not going, definitely not going to be today. It would require a little bit more process and time to get to the stage. So just allow us some further time. The technical leader will be somebody that has the knowledge of the project already. So that worries me a little bit less than having somebody that doesn't know the project at all. So before I proceed further, is there any questions on this?
No questions, Andrea, right now. I think there are certainly some discussions and ideas tossed around. We just might need a little bit more time. For example, I'm speaking for on behalf of editors before we can come out and maybe offer some suggestions there. Do give us a week or so more, please.
Yeah, I would say that we can take this a little bit further in time and spend a little bit more time reviewing what are the options we have, both internally to each of our companies, Radisys, Netsia and Deutsche Telekom, Telecom, anybody who has an interest in this, and Adtran, and want to nominate somebody, please do send over that. Something that is a tad bit related to this, and maybe actually just crossed my mind. So it is that so David and Ken are leaving the TST effective this month, because Siena is moving from partner level to member level at ONF, and thus they are resigning their position in the TST, given their inability to contribute because of the discrepancy between Siena's interest and ONF's vOLTHA project. So first of all, I would really like to give a huge thank you to Ken and David for their contribution to the project. They've been doing outstanding contributions for a lot of time before I joined the project, and this and this project would have not been possible without their contribution, both at the start of the project and even to the last bit of the contributions that they are doing even right now. So and also for the technical guidance that they have provided all over the time to the project. So thanks a lot, Ken and David. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. It was actually a pleasure and honor to work in the open source community, and ONF was actually my first open source project that I worked on. So it was very pleasurable experience. So thank you for having us on that team.
Wonderful. Just want to applaud both David, who is not here, but I'm sure he will see this, and Ken for the contributions. Absolutely, we second that, Andrea.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, Ken, also, this is Mahir. Very thank you to all of your efforts and contributions to the project. I'm very honored to work with you and David. Thank you very much for everything you did.
Yeah, thanks all for your kind words. But it's really the people in the community, everybody, that make it such a good place to work with, and it was just a really good experience for me. So thank you.
This is great to hear, Ken. I always worked in open source project as well, and it was lovely collaborating with this community. So and with you as well, you're always very much open to giving help and helping us figure out details of things we didn't know of, and you did. So thanks a lot for that. And in general, also as a thank you for guiding also personally in my growth within the project when I joined and when I got on board. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, thanks.
Sharing these same feelings to this account, Ken. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to work with you. We'll miss you.
Well, thanks. Actually, I will miss working with vOLTHA, and especially the people. It was such a good group of people, like very we can really talk about anything, and that was very nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Ken and David. I'm not sure David is here. I mean, this was my first open source project too, and I learned quite a lot, especially from you and David, and thanks for that. It really helped in growth of my career. I'd like to thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks, Girish. It was very nice working with you as well. You know, like we each learn from each other. So that was good in this community.
Yeah, this is Amit. Just to add to that, yeah, Ken and David, you two have been like leading it from the front for the vOLTHA project, and made so many contributions and evolved this project to where it is today. And Ken, definitely we will miss your design discussions around B code and the interfaces, and David for the SDN control applications, right? So it has been really, really fruitful having so many design discussions here. At certain points of time, we didn't agree, but most of the times we did get to good conclusions, and that's why where we are today. And I can thank you both more for leading the project to its current state.
Yeah, thanks, Amit. Next time I'm in Berlin, we should have a
Absolutely.
drink together. I don't know if you drink.
Well, Ken, I don't know if you saw the email, but we're holding a meetup at the end of May, 19th and 20th in Berlin. I know you will be on some other project. I don't know what you're working on, and I don't know if you can get approval to it. But maybe you could come. You could still come, and we could still join us for a beer. There's a reception.
Oh, that would be great, but I'm pretty sure my boss will say no.
Yeah, that's another good point. I have to put here on the agenda. But
Andrea, I just wanted to thank you, Ken, and David as well, you for being super patient with explaining the core to everyone, and David to be incredibly stubborn and keeping control on us not to make stupid design decisions.
Thanks, Matteo. Well, thank you for helping me out through all those Helm charts and all those testings, especially you and Gurish, to do all those geopathy testing in your environment. So that was really helpful. True collaboration.
Yeah, I think the key here is really that it was a group effort to bring us where we are, and you can and David as well, even though he's not on the call. So if you hear from him, please send our warmest feelings as well to him. It was really a group effort, and you were key pillars of it. And as Mahir said, we'll miss you. It's a little bit of an unfortunate thing that you guys have to leave, but it's going to be for the future project that we're going to collaborate again together. So,
yeah, hope so. Yeah, thank you. I'll convey the message. I'll convey all the messages to David.
Yes, please do. Let me explain a little bit what happens next. So Ken and David were the vOLTHA TST was never elected by the community because the community is fairly tightly knit, and I believe we believed when we set up the TST that we didn't need an election per se, and this could hold true even right now. So Ken and David will stay on the TST nominally until we find a replacement for them, and I might have to ask them to join us once. Because what I am currently looking for is to get nominees for these two positions. So the same as the TST lead, which is going to be my replacement in some months from now, please do send over nominees for replacement of Ken and David as well. Please send them over to me as usual via my Intel email. And then what will happen is that depending on the number of nominees, we might decide to either hold an election or the old TST, old in the sense the one with Ken and David, leveraging their knowledge of the community, I might ask this group of people, meaning myself, Amit, David, Ken, and Mahir, to pick between the nominees. If the nominees are like 3 or 4, and we have to pick 2, then I would probably go down this route. If there are just 2 nominees, I might ask for more, and then we will see. But instead, if the nominees are many, and instead if the community prefers so, then we could run an election. Let's first start with getting the nominees in place, and then send them over to me, and then I can, with a small reason of why they're good nominees, and then we can go further in the decision whether to hold an election or just go for straight on appointment to the TST. Okay, good. Another topic that I wanted to bring up is what I told before. So we are holding broadband meetup the 19th and the 20th in Berlin, hosted by Deutsche Telekom, organized by ONF, namely Denise and Timon. And it will be effectively launching the governing area board, which is the new way of governing the TST by the governing vOLTHA and any other ONF project by the operators and the interested parties, and that will be done on the 19th during the day. And then on the 19th evening, we will have a reception. And on the 20th is going to be an open meetup with updates from vendors, system integrators, operators, and the whole community at large. So I would encourage you to come, and to do so, please do register there. If you have any questions, reach out to Timon or Denise or even myself. I will be there, and I will proceed with meeting you all if you can come. Okay, then that was everything. Any questions?
No questions, Andrea. I think it will be good to see if there is a list of people who are attending at some point, just so that it will be helpful to see who is coming, how many are coming, and what else can we do outside of the proposed agenda and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay, that was all. Next topic is an update on LWC. When I joined, I heard Theo was discussing this. Any update, Theo?
Well, Andrea, we were talking about why the discrepancy on Slack channel between the measurements that Theo had made and the measurements that we have made. I think there is a pretty drastic difference. And one speculation here is that it could be because of the database that's being used in our tests, which is Redis, and then in your tests, which is etcd, and then that etcd might be also shared with other CBI applications, if I may, right? Abhilash, now that you're here, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, please, by all means, go ahead.
Yes, but Matteo, while running LWC in your test, you did deploy Redis itself, right? Was it?
No, I was running it against etcd.
That's the problem, probably.
Okay, yeah, that's so the difference that we have pinpointed with SUAS was that we were running on a 3-node cluster, while his testing was a single node cluster, and we were running etcd with persistency enabled versus Redis. I don't know if you run Redis with persistency or not.
It's due to that. Okay, what we can. Okay, we'll cross check with this with etcd probably, just to make sure if it's due to etcd.
Okay, that would be a good thing to find out. We have seen performance bottlenecks with the TCD in the past. We did some optimization for those, so it might be that LWC could use some of these optimizations. But maybe while the Radisys team checks for their etcd related elements, we could try with Redis, but I just thought that our scale cluster is in flight, so I think we will have to defer the testing, Theo, right?
Yes, the thing we can do is to run it on another machine with both etcd and Redis if we can easily set that up and see if there is a difference. So basically do the same testing that Redis is doing, but we cannot replicate the test on the same cluster we did the etcd one at the moment. So as Andrea said, the cluster is in a box being shipped.
Andrea, you Matteo, actually, you mentioned that the one in ONF you're running with persistency. Is it also the case with Redis in the Redis environment? Are they doing persistency or there's no persistency there?
There is persistency.
With Redis DB.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think an interesting question at this point is etcd a requirement as a backend for LWC? Because we might also say LWC is optimized to run with Redis. So if you want to achieve great performances, use that. And I see no harm in keeping the database completely.
Yeah, so I think that originally when we discussed WC with Redis, that was my understanding. The fact that it runs with etcd is a great plus, but I believe that to achieve the speeds we discussed in the past, Redis is the way forward for LWC.
It's correct, Andrea. We once we found out the bottlenecks in etcd, we have moved to Redis, and our code is all optimized based on Redis. So I think so, yeah. It should be Redis what we have to run with, but yeah.
And you definitely know more than me about the way LWC is implemented, but I believe there might be some queries that are just performing better in Redis than they do in etcd.
Correct, yes.
One of the issues that, one of the topic that was discussed a long time back when we were talking about etcd and Redis, we're talking about the consistency level. For example, in etcd, we can wait when you make a query, if you have 3 nodes, you can wait until all of them are in sync, then you get the data. But in Redis, I believe it was more eventual consistency. In this environment that you're using, are you going to have only one Redis node, or will you have a 3-node cluster for Redis and use eventual consistency?
It's a cluster for us.
It's a cluster of 3 nodes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you will be using eventual consistency on Redis. So there's this chance that 2 requests that comes in, one get the latest data updated, but the other one doesn't get the latest data because it's eventual consistency. Is that going to be an issue? It's not in the case of LWC.
We haven't seen much, but I'll get back to you on that, Ken.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
So I think Redis and Serkant and Meir might know more about. I think Redis has an option to so that the cluster has a master, so you only talk with the master, so you effectively only have the most up-to-date data, and the other 2 instances are basically a passive backup.
Yes, that's correct. That is also how we used to use Redis. We are only using the master instance for read and write operations. But if something happens to the master one, the slave one takes the master shipment. But there's always a possibility to lose some of data if you lost the master in the middle of a transaction. but I believe chances are low. And we also have some other mechanisms if we lost some of the data.
Yes, sorry, I just want to correct. We are not running it on a cluster. It's only one. I just got confused. So yeah, it's just only one.
So you are talking about so LWC and vOLTHA uses the Redis. They shares the KV store, right?
Yes.
So in ONF's environments, LWC and vOLTHA both uses etcd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, that explains why it is slow on ONF's environments, I think.
Yeah, that's probably the case, because etcd probably gets bombarded during the port discovery both by vOLTHA and LWC. Even though I believe that they are two different data trees, there might be some side effect.
Well, at least we have data points to show that if you looked at LWC as a standalone, right, and if you used Redis instead of etcd, you can actually get pretty good numbers. Okay, Andrea, is there any suggestion on what we need to do next year, or can we conclude on the number differences and or account for it with what we have? Or I think, sorry, Abhilash, you were going to get back to Ken on something, correct?
No, actually we are running it on single node. So yeah, that's what I wanted to get back to Ken on. So yeah, they're running it on single.
So for Redis, it doesn't make such difference using Redis in cluster or in single environments. Probably there would be no difference.
But it's if we're running in the ONF environment, if we're running etcd in a cluster, it would be useful maybe to have Redis also running in a cluster in the LWC. It may not make a difference, much of a difference, but at least to have this, because currently if you have only one node, if it fails, then that's it. You don't have any backup at all, right? But if you do have a cluster, then you do have a backup. There's a chance of losing data, but that's very minimal compared to losing everything.
I think they persist on hard disk. Abhilash, is that correct? You run single instance, but you persist everything on hard disk.
Yes.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah, but there could be a transitional time where you're not able to make connection to etcd, and yeah, you have to somehow deal with it in the software.
One way to quickly figure out whether it's a etcd or if it's etcd problem, like what you can put some tracer in your log, some not like debug log, but some form of log that get captured often when you're running the test, and the same code get run on both environment, and in that piece of code, you actually measure the time that it takes to write to a database. I don't know if it's easy to do or not, but it's that could give you a fairly good indication, because the latency is quite a difference here. So we should be able to confirm whether it's Redis or etcd.
Yeah, correct. I'm pretty much sure it's between etcd and Redis, but here, is it due to the 3 node, or is it due to the 1 node what we ran? Is what is making the difference is what we'll have to check.
Okay.
Because as I said, again, 3 node, it'll the other guys will have to sync up. So is that causing the delay? That we'll have to check. Either way, we'll have to run some tests on this. So let me get back to you on this. I'll collect some data on that, both on etcd and Redis. Definitely for Redis I will, but etcd I'll check it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah, those are definitely interesting topics, and it would be interesting once we get this tested with Redis to have Netsia tested with one Redis for both vOLTHA and LWC. I think the considerations we made in favor of etcd while deciding not to switch to Redis are still valid. And the performance in vOLTHA, we're not seeing any hit in etcd. But given that LWC has been designed for Redis, I think it's okay to go with that. And also because it uses the persistency, so again, it mitigates those issues. In terms of clustering environment, I really wouldn't know what but it's a good discussion to have and to check, as Ken pointed out. So I think these are the next steps that we have to make. And to answer you, Rajesh, if that was the question like some time ago, which I might have missed.
That is correct, and I just put them in the Slack window as well, just so that it is the questions are recorded there.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the next steps. Let's continue to try it. Serkan, if you have a little bit of time and you just want to try this, feel free more than to do it.
Try what, Andrea? I'm sorry.
LWC in general, and LWC with the same cluster of Redis as vOLTHA.
Okay, I can't promise, but I'll try.
Okay. Well, we'll take whatever we can get. So. Okay, so yeah, this is written on LWC. A little bit of an update on the port disabled. We agreed upon changing this last time. I started making the change. I have some code ready, but with the change to Intel environment and the missing of all the equipment where I used to do the testing, it's going to take a little bit longer for me to push a patch, and other stuff took priority on top of this. But rest assured that we will get this implemented in the upcoming weeks. Any questions?
Nothing, I guess, Andrea.
Okay, good. Then, Amit, I don't really recall where we stand on this, to be honest.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
did
give me a
attend.
refresher?
Yeah, so I think I didn't attend the last TST meeting, and we discussed on it in the meeting before that, where I presented a proposal as to how we could fix this problem. But I think that's where it was, and we didn't do anything after that. So I am assuming that I think the community is okay with that proposal, and if that is the case, then maybe we would come up with a design proposal, as in a lower level design proposal as to what the changes we might want to do. And if that goes through, then maybe we could do the implementation.
Sure. Then I would say let's proceed as usual. You know what the deal is with the design documents. You've done many, so let's go ahead, do it, and then we can bring it up in the next TST or so.
Sure.
Okay. On the ONF BBF liaison, I can give an update, but also Girish and Raj can help me here. So what we are doing is that Girish stepped in for the implementation. We had a discussion with the BBF team, and we had a discussion with Elia as well, where he introduced the code base to the team. I can share the recording. That's actually a very good point. I can share the recording with everybody. Anybody who's interested can see that.
So very quickly, Andrea, while you're doing that, so that interface, I haven't had a chance to follow that through, maybe like some other topics like LWC. So that interface between Cloud CEO orchestrator that is based upon the BBF Young models to call into the vOLTHA, if I may, that interface has been coded now. I think all that code was done by Elia. Am I right?
Well, all of it, it's a big word. I would say a start of it. A start of it, yes. A start of it, yes. And the good thing is that the framework is in place. So it's only an additive effort to code more things. Also because the coding was not entirely done, because the mapping to the models was not entirely done, given the fact that it still requires agreement with BBF internally.
I see. Okay, so we have the framework in place, is what we have in place. Okay.
Yes.
How much would you say is the functionality done? 10%, 30%, 50%?
It depends on what would you consider. So if you consider the 100%,
configure the OLT, configuring an OLT, an ONT, a subscriber, and let us say triple services. Let us say these four, which constitute the majority of why OLTs exist in the first place.
Yeah. So implementation, only the get devices is done. But it's fairly trivial to do the remaining elements because the framework is already in place. So once we agree on the models, then we import them, and that is already there, as there's already a procedure for that. And we get them into the adapter. And once the adapter ingests them, it's only a matter of doing the translation between what we agreed upon with BBF, which represents the vOLTHA devices and subscribers, and the vOLTHA/ONOS API calls. So that is fairly trivial. And Girish, having knowledge of all of this, can do it once we agree on the models with BBF.
Okay, that's what you mentioned earlier when you said Girish and I will finish it off. That's what you meant. Finishing what has been started as a base framework that we saw with Elia the other day. Okay, got it. Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah.
Okay, no other questions from me on that one. I think you have seen that we have nominated Subramania from Redis to help with the POC aspects once that coding is complete, if I may.
Okay, that's nice. Thanks. So
Thanks
yeah,
for
that
that.
is. Sorry, go ahead.
I said thank you, Raj, for that.
You're welcome, Girish.
Go ahead, Andrea.
Okay. So yeah, that is the current status of things. It's going forward. So I would just say that we'll keep everybody posted, and I think we can take this off the TST as an element because it's just an implementation detail right now. We found the folks that need to be founded and need to be found. Sorry. And we're just good to go in terms of there's a path forward, so that's good. Any questions?
Andrea, I believe we also should continue the design discussions ONF around the ONF BBF integration, because I suspect the nature of the BBF architecture doesn't align with the ONF SIBA architecture. In terms of resource management and technology profile things. I don't know. I have no idea how could we implement those. So we'll probably need to have a design discussion to forward.
Yes, that is a good point, Serkant. So at the moment, we are trying. So we found a good level of agreement in terms of what we can do and what we cannot do with just, again, the create OLT, enable OLT, and provision subscriber. Last week, we debated the technology profile and what needed to be done in that technology profile. Elements within BBF and ONF, and for now we agreed that the technology profile is a separate element that is injected into a TCD and is for now not under the realm of the integration with BBF and ONF. But that is definitely a next step. But we're still holding the BBF ONF calls every 2 weeks where we get an arrangement on this. And we'll iterate. This is an iterative process. The first step was let's do a simple existing proof of concept with the basic stuff. Like, to me, the technology profile, while it is fundamental to provision the services in vOLTHA, could be treated as a secondary item in the sense that you could say, okay, we need this thing, and for now, this is the API to configure it, and treat it kind of as a black box for now. And in the future, given that we have the APIs to configure technology profile in vOLTHA, we can then start the iterative effort that we have just done for the devices and the subscriber. Well done. We are in progress of doing for the devices and the subscribers to model the technology profile and have that properly described via BBF APIs so that we can then ingest it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I got it. I see your points. Makes sense. Do you also have any design decisions around the resource management things, like allocation of jump ports, T-counts, alloc IDs, etc.?
Not at this moment. And don't those pertain under the technology profile itself? Or are you referring to the interface between vOLTHA and the OLT?
I am referring the configuration persistent because probably one from the BBF interface, once you want to give a service to a subscriber, probably from the BBF, all of the jump ports and alloc IDs, TCons, those things will be sent as a configuration item. Whether in vOLTHA, we automatically allocate once we have the service request. So
yes, interesting point. For now, what we're doing is that we're using what is known as within the BBF community as the layer 2 abstraction model, service model, which is something that is not yet standardized, but is part of the OBBAA models. And the fact that another exemplar implementation, namely OBBAA, found that this high level orchestration layer 2 modeling is needed validates the proof that also that we set forth, saying we need this modeling. And thus we are considering within BBF how to standardize those, and that would abstract those details. And that goes back to the point I made before. Right now, we are doing them completely automatically, that assignment, as you mentioned, and we can keep that thanks to this layer 2 model that we will be standardizing. If in the future, there is a request for actually making these configurable, it would have to go the same usual design process in the TST and vOLTHA and check how to expose them, if to expose them, because vOLTHA was always, we always decided that in vOLTHA we wouldn't expose those because it was not really the right level of abstraction that the operators were interested in. So it goes to a design discussion in vOLTHA, it goes and checks what BBF has, whatever we find that is missing in BBF, we update, or whatever we found is missing in vOLTHA, we update, and then we go through the adapter implementation and all of that. So I would say, it's a further step. While I like the enthusiasm around this, let's not forget that we are like in a very, very early stage of everything here. Think of this as vOLTHA in 2015. Okay.
okay.
Or 2016, sorry. There is a lot that needs to be done and a lot that needs to be understood, and there's a lot of iterative process on it. We are very far along in vOLTHA itself, so this being just a translation layer, I don't expect it to be that difficult, but getting all the pieces, it's not going to be easy, and we are working towards doing that, and it will be an iterative process. That is as much as I can say. Okay, given that we are almost at the top of the hour, I'd like to ask if there are any final questions. If not, I would go forward with thanking everybody. Any questions?
Andrea?
Yes.
I have set up a call in about 30 minutes to quickly talk about that ONF equipment. With you, Theo, Girish, and Zach, and a couple of guys from Redis's IT side as well. If you guys can make it, so it's not too late for you, Andrea. I realized that it's 11 p.m., so I moved it up to start in about 30 minutes from now.
Yeah, I just checked with Zach. That works for him.
Yes.
I can be there.
Thank
so
you, Theo.
I think we can go ahead with the call.
Okay.
And Andrea, if you cannot make it, we can.
No, I believe I can make it. Yeah, I believe I can make it.
Yeah, okay. If not, I think being a technical thing, I can just relay what the outcome is.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Well then, thanks everybody, and I'll talk to you again next week. I'll publish the recording as usual. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thank